Remember this sound? You don't? What about this one? Whoops, wrong way. What about this? There we go. Ah, the internet. The new frontier. The information superhighway blasting our craniums with junk 56 kilobits at a time. I can travel the world at just the touch of a button. I can experience so many new things. It's the most amazing thing I've ever seen. I wonder what other people are doing right now. What can they teach me? Let's find out.
Wait, who did what now? Why is that monkey so scary?
The visitors here at
Don't say this to me. I didn't do anything. Why is she singing?
That cat's cute. The internet is kind of awful. Don't get me wrong, there's some great stuff on here, like YouTube. Please, please, I'm faithful, see? I said you were great, give me something! But so much of the stuff worth engaging with is buried under the screams of the damned. The internet's potential for education and community are overshadowed by megaphone-toting jackholes yelling about how birds are fake. People are believing everything they're told, and they don't understand how to leave this bubble that is formed around them, nor do they even know that it's there. It's bad enough that people are acting this way behind a screen, but now we're seeing it spread into the real world. These things are affecting reality, major life decisions, politics. Now I sound like a conspiracy nut. Do you see what's happening? Why is it like this now? That's what I want to talk about. Just like many horrible things on the internet, social media is a fantastic concept. It's a great idea on paper. In practice, it's a disgusting cesspool of toxicity, misinformation, and hypocrisy. The original idea of social media was to connect and keep up with friends and family you don't see often, as well as make new friends with people you would have never met otherwise. It was a way of discovering new interests, sharing passions, and enriching yourself in unfamiliar cultures and arts. It was a beautiful new age of information sharing. But of course, corporations had to come in and ruin it. Once these money-grubbing goobers caught whiff of the green, everything went to shit. Now people are still connecting with friends and family, but their friends and family are spouting disgustingly misinformed political views that no one asked for. People aren't expanding their cultural views, they're receding further into their echo chamber of prejudice. There was always going to be internet trolls. Like Susan. Yeah, I know you were the one posting that shit on my wall, you cuck. We've been friends on here for 8 years. It says your name right fucking there. How many guys are named Susan? Of course I know it's you fucking moron. Try saying that shit to my face. You still owe me a new lawnmower too, shithead. How about you actually save some money to buy one instead of spending it on anime figurines of 12-year-old girls, you fucking creep? With the anonymity of talking through text behind a screen, there was always going to be trolls. But once these corpos got involved, it only exacerbated the issue. Controversy and outrage generate viewership and engagement, which in turn incentivizes businesses to advertise on these kinds of media posts. It's a synergy of shit that hurts everyone, other than the pockets of big business. So much of what people talk about on social media is some kind of war. A war on that political view, a war on this definitely real conspiracy, a war on this person. But the other side is never shown. If you actually look into the facts of these arguments and the other side, more often than not, these aren't real issues at all. They're fabrications made solely to keep people at each other's throats. What's worse is this social media algorithm keeps people stuck in a bubble that feeds them the same garbage, making fact-checking much more difficult for them. That is, if they even try at all. This kind of thinking then spills over into the real world, where at best people are more irritable and at worst, movies come to life. Everything is just black and white now. You either have to be on one extreme or the other. None of these arguments even seem to acknowledge that there could be a gray area. One person says their view on the local economy, and then a whole slew of assholes come in and assume this person eats babies and fucks dogs. One belief, no matter how insignificant, is viewed as a person's entire identity. These disgusting generalizations push us farther away from each other, making any kind of mutual understanding impossible. Side note, on the topic of assumptions, people are getting so fucking lazy that when they hear a new term or phrase, they just assume what it means without looking it up first. This is more of a pet peeve, but it exemplifies how little the average person actually tries these days. If you excessively use the word bukake at work because you assume it means bullshit, then you deserve to be slapped with an HR violation, if not a sexual harassment charge, you fuckwit. You learned this word from the internet. Just open a new tab and look up its meaning, because clearly your ability to identify context clues is non-existent. Some people even have the audacity to try and correct others when they read one post on Reddit without any context and just assume they completely understand the topic. Like when people incorrectly correct others saying, "That's not how probability works," just because they saw a video explaining that getting heads on a coin flip is a 50-50 chance. You're so fucking smart. Oh wait, that video didn't explain multiple occurrences, sample size, or anything else beyond day 1 stats 101. How about you do the bare minimum amount of research before you correct someone incorrectly only to have all your dumbass friends tag along and take your word for it, perpetuating a culture of spreading misinformation and making everyone stupider. Just so you can feel a little better about yourself. You know what they say. When you assume, it makes you a fucking idiot. Wait, I just assumed you've heard that saying before. Fuck! Sorry, I'm a little stressed. Anxiety is running rampant in the modern age. This could be because of the constant overstimulation of social media, our modern awareness of mental illness being a trendy topic of conversation with many influencers self-diagnosing themselves and therefore causing their viewers to follow suit. Or maybe it's the gay frog water. There seems to be plenty of possibilities as to why everyone seems to have anxiety now. So I'm not going to make a factual statement about it. However, I'm sure social media is not helping. People are on edge. Have you tried to question someone on their thoughts lately? You'll be lucky to keep your fingers. People interpret basic criticism and idea challenging as a personal attack on their character. You cannot have a meaningful conversation with that state of mind. It shuts out everything that you don't agree with and prevents any kind of mutual understanding. It lacks empathy and it's flat out disrespectful. Why would someone join you if you don't understand or respect them? Most interactions on the internet are through text and up to interpretation. If someone's not having it that day, everything they read is going to have a negative connotation to it, which is only going to make the aggression worse. Many people also use social media as an outlet for pent-up emotions that they can't release in their daily lives on account of these outbursts being socially unacceptable, making an explosion inevitable. Social media also sells the idea that you aren't good enough. We all know that person from high school. The one that was always super fun and happy, got along with everyone, was involved in everything, and still somehow maintained perfect grades. Which made you really jealous because she makes it look so effortless. That jealousy made you want to resent her, but she's so nice and cool that when she said, "Hi," to you in the hallway, it made you feel so warm and happy inside that you can't harbor any feelings of animosity towards her. Then in college you see a post where she mentions her creepy rich uncle, who was noticeably obsessed with her, died and left her his fortune. Now she just travels the world on an endless vacation, posting every extravagant meal and breathtaking location on her Insta. She's always had it, but now she's got that, and much, much more. She's still so thin and pretty and has so much charisma that she has a huge following which gets bigger every day. She's meeting celebrities, she's dining with royalty, she even owns a Tesla. Now she's making even more money from selling beauty products that we all know she doesn't need, but we're all buying anyway, because we want to be just like her. She is perfect, and you are not. Even when it shows you positive things, social media makes you feel bad. When you feel bad, you recognize something is wrong, like something needs to change. This is when brands will swoop in and try to sell you something. It could be those beauty products, it could be a supplement, a fitness plan, or even a therapy service. What's worse is that normal people who aren't even trying to sell something participate in this practice. People don't usually post the shitty parts of their lives. They post the good stuff. They want people to notice and envy them, just like how they envy their favorite influencers. But these influencers don't actually live perfect lives.
You're not perfect.
They don't show you the hours of makeup application and prep work before a shoot. They don't expose themselves juicing in the locker room. They don't want you to see them vomit after eating these rich meals to maintain their weight. You only see the good. This creates a false sense of reality that can be extremely harmful to an individual's psyche, especially that of a child's. We need to understand that these people we see are flawed, that they only show you what they want you to see. That woman that's living the perfect life sometimes doesn't want to go out to fancy restaurants. She doesn't want to have to go to the gym every day. She doesn't like having panic attacks when deciding what outfit will get the most engagement. And she's not as hot as you may think. Remember, Photoshop is the best beauty routine. Speaking of hot chicks, let's get into parasocial relationships. A parasocial relationship is a one-sided relationship where an individual forms a bond of some sort with a persona. That could be a celebrity, an influencer, even a fictional character. But this person/character doesn't know the individual exists. This phenomenon occurs when this persona affects the life of the individual in some way. This could be because of the art they make, their personality. They look like this. Anything that makes an impact, even a negative one. These types of relationships result in one person knowing much more about the other, while the other is unaware of the person. Sounds unhealthy, right? Not necessarily. Parasocial relationships are not new. They've existed for a pretty long time, maybe as long as media itself. Think about when Elvis was in his prime in the 1950s. People were fucking crazy about him, to the point where they would burst into tears just watching him wiggle. This goes beyond just liking the music he made, it's loving him as a person. But these people going haywire at the sight of his white man moves still lived normal lives, had families, and moved on. Probably. How many of these rabid fans actually knew Elvis as a person? Not many. This is an example of a parasocial relationship. Parasocial relationships generally aren't a bad thing. I mean, shit, I have some with artists and influencers because I really like the work they do and their work shows a lot of who they are, so I know a lot about them, too. The reason why parasocial relationships are starting to be questioned in the social media age is the fact that they're not fully one-sided anymore. Back in the 50s, the average person wasn't able to just talk to Elvis whenever. They could send a letter in the mail and maybe he would read it, but that's as far as it went. Nowadays, you can direct message an artist or publicly comment on something they post, which can lead to discourse with said artist. You can talk with an influencer live while they're streaming. You can even interact with porn now. This is where parasocial relationships get out of hand. It deludes people's perceptions of reality and true relationships. It can affect how people interact with each other, if they're even interacting with others in real life at all. This type of relationship can be harmful to the persona side as well. Parasocial relationships are very easy to form because there's no chance of rejection. A normal social relationship requires all parties involved to have a mutual understanding of the nature of the connection as well as consent for the connection to be formed and maintained. In a parasocial relationship, one person forms this bond in their head without the consent of the other person. This is fine, if there's no interaction between the two. But there is interaction now. This breach in the divide puts excess pressure on the persona to act as though everyone following is their friend because disgruntled followers post hate threads and hurt their person's reputation and livelihood. What's worse is these personas put a lot of their information on the internet, especially live streamers, which helps deepen the delusion of more mentally unstable individuals into thinking this is anything more than just parasocial. These deluded people could potentially become stalkers, or worse. Jesus, if you're a woman on OnlyFans, you've got to live in a damn fortress, otherwise good fucking luck. The scummiest people, on the other hand, love when their community is mentally unwell because they can take advantage of it to make that green. They will abuse the trust the community puts in them, to shill shoddy products or hype up a cryptocurrency they have stake in only to pull the rug out from underneath. This is the harm this kind of relationship can bring. Parasocial relationships aren't necessarily bad, but can be a slippery slope for many people. They've existed for a long time, but the reason why they're discussed so much in modern media is the fact that there are so many more public figures that people are forming more parasocial relationships than ever before, and the parasocial wall is crumbling. This wouldn't be as much of a problem if people didn't become so transfixed with social media, but it's tough not to get hooked when there is a never-ending stream of information being beamed into your head. Perhaps the worst thing social media has done to the human race is destroy our attention spans. Congratulations on making it this far, by the way. I'm surprised I even made it this far. You know what? You deserve a reward. Here! What the fuck was I talking about? Ah, shit. Right, attention spans. Social media is moving in the direction of extreme brevity. Thanks to apps like TikTok, platforms now aim to format quick content into unending streams of information because of that juicy engagement. It's a shotgun blast of dopamine that enforces continued behavior. This is literally how addiction works. The external stimuli helps your brain produce dopamine, but this makes your brain stop producing it on its own, thus requiring you to continue using this external method of dopamine production. It's the fast food of media, and it's causing brain obesity. There's a natural human desire for instant gratification, but feeding that desire is not healthy. Constant consumption of short-form stimuli continually feeds this instant gratification and leads to the loss of delayed gratification. We need to earn the reward of this pleasure, otherwise we become dependent on this external stimuli and cease to function normally. For fuck's sake, a 5-second TikTok video still needs Subway Surfers playing in the background just to keep the viewer's attention. This is what is happening to our attention spans. We're only thinking about the now, but we can't be bothered to think about the next 5 seconds, let alone 5 minutes. This lack of attention span is very dangerous. It's a major reason why everyone is at each other's throats. No one can be bothered to research anything properly because they can't focus for more than 3 fucking seconds. So they just trust what others tell them, no matter how outlandish the claim. It's causing depression to spike because people can't function without a constant stream of stimuli being laser injected into their face balls. It makes people feel like shit because they see all the attractive people having fun while they're stuck doom scrolling. No wonder so many people are forgetting or never learning how to interact with others in society when these evil suits keep us depressed and anxious about the outside world by keeping us stuck to our phones. Also, they can get that green! So what the fuck do we do? How can we fix this? There's gotta be a way, right? I believe there is. Find it here in the Quick Brain Fix. Only 23 easy payments of $19.84. That's 23 easy payments of $19.84. Just kidding. This is what I suggest. It may sound condescending, but I assure you that is not the intention. Go outside. I'm serious. Just stand or sit outside and take it in. Go to a park and people watch. Listen to the birds. If you live in a city, go on an outing. We're not meant to be holed up inside day in and day out. Read a book. Again, it sounds condescending, but hear me out. Reading can help you regain that abandoned attention span. It may be difficult at first, but I believe in you. You may be surprised by how engaging a good novel can be. Here are some of my favorites. Reading can also introduce you to other cultures. Learning about other cultures helps round out your understanding of the world. You'll find that the more you learn about these things you were in the dark about, the more you expand your worldview and the more understanding and interesting you'll become. Talk with people. And I mean really talk with them. Not caps lock text screaming at them, but talking with them. Put that understanding and empathy into practice. Even if you don't agree with them, try to see something from their point of view. If you don't agree with something, sincerely ask why they believe what they do. You'd be amazed at how much sense it could make if you actually listen. We need to stop villainizing each other just because we don't agree on 100% of things, or we're scared the other side might be right. Learn something new. Have you ever wanted to learn something but never felt like you had the time? You probably do have the time. Whether it's learning a new language, an instrument, or something more exotic, you have time to learn it, especially if you use social media regularly. You don't have to dedicate 20 hours a week or anything. You could do as little as 15 minutes a day, and anyone can find time for that. It may require sacrificing some social media or gaming time, but I assure you, it's worth it. We are wired to learn things. It's part of what makes us human. It's also great practice getting used to delayed gratification, which is far more rewarding. When you set out to accomplish a long-term goal and you finally achieve it, it feels far better than doom scrolling to the next shitty video. I know there are plenty of people that are scared to try something new because they fear they'll suck at it. And to that I say, you will. You will suck at it. At first. That's the whole fucking point of learning. This is another misconception these perfect people on the internet help perpetuate. Remember how we talked about these people only showing their best? When you see all these amazing people and things they do on the internet, they're only showing you what they want. They aren't showing you the hours and hours of practice or setup. You're only seeing the final product. Internet culture and probably our school system have taught us to be afraid of failure, when really we need to embrace it. I like failing, as strange as that sounds, because it means I now know what not to do. Success doesn't just show up in the middle of the night and give you a blowjob. It takes work and a fuck ton of failure. Then you get the blowjob. It's never been easier to learn new things. YouTube has so many great tutorials and honestly a lot of god-awful ones. So use it to your advantage, instead of letting it use you. This last fix is going to be a little controversial. I think we should age restrict social media. Not all platforms. YouTube has a lot of kid-friendly content and I developed much of my sense of humor from YouTube.
See, I'm still on your side. Please let this one pop off.
But for things like Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, fuck you Elon, it's Twitter, Snapchat, and whatever the fuck else people are using these days, we need to do something to keep impressionable and fragile minds from becoming tainted by this shit. Nothing on Twitter is worth reading. Instagram makes children and adults feel bad about themselves. Snapchat is full of predators, Kik is full of criminal activity, TikTok is cringe and might be banned in your country anyway, and Facebook is run by a lizard. We need to have some kind of social media literacy course in the school curriculum before we let younger people use it. I hope I didn't lose you at the end there. Oh wow! Credits before the sign out? That's crazy. This one was a doozy, huh? I've had this on my mind for a while. It feels good to finally get it out. I appreciate you watching to the end. It looks like somebody's attention span is still going strong. I hope you could take something away from this. Truly, thank you for watching. Thank you for subscribing. And be good to each other. Now go live your life. Peace.